What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching the very first episode of a brand new Let's Play project. As you can probably see, the game this time around is the Pokemon Trading Card Game. It's a Game Boy game that, surprisingly enough, is basically just playing the Pokemon Trading Card Game, but a little more gamey than that. So, without too much bother, we're just gonna get this thing started. So, the name of your character doesn't matter all that much, so I'm just gonna go with Josh, because needless to say, that is my name. So, if you're not familiar with this game, basically it came out during the... I guess it would probably be considered the height of the Pokemon craze. It's, before the second generation of Pokemon came out. So it only uses the first generation of Pokemon cards as well. I played a heck of a lot of this game back in the day. I played it about as much as I played the Generation 1 Pokemon games, so I figured I might as well give this game a play as well, considering I already did a Let's Play of Pokemon Red. The Pokemon card game is actually pretty good, which is a lot of why this game is so appealing, really. So, to begin with here, we have basically just a tutorial. You can read up about any of the topics that you want, but I'm not going to do that. And then we are forced to play a practice game, which it's kind of annoying, but it's a good demonstration of how exactly the game actually works. I'm gonna more or less just rush through the dialogue as much as I can, just because this segment can be pretty long. And honestly, it's a little bit annoying just because they pretty much force you to play exactly the same game, like exactly the way they want you to play it. So you don't really have any freedom to do anything else. Not that it's a big deal, but the game's the trading card game itself is not super complicated, so I guess when it comes down to it, I will more or less... Oh, right, okay. I'll more or less explain the game as I go, I guess. So, needless to say, there's a coin flip just to see who goes first. At the start of your turn, you draw you draw a card from your deck. Each deck consists of exactly 60 cards, no more, no less. Yes, thank you, Dr. Mason. So each Pokemon card has certain attacks that it can use. And I believe we can... Yeah, so Goldeen here has Horn Attack. At the top, you can see the little circles representing its HP. Goldeen has 40 HP. Each circle representing 10, of course. Horn Attack does 10 damage. You can see a little water drop to the left of Horn Attack, meaning it takes 1 water energy to use said attack. So I placed a water energy on Goldeen at the start of this turn, enabling me to use Horn Attack, which deals 10 damage to my opponent. You can only assign 1 energy every turn, so yeah. And now we're going to be told what to do this turn. So, basically, as he says, you can evolve a Pokemon if you have the proper evolution card. In this case, Goldeen evolves into Seaking. So I can do that. You can evolve as many Pokemon as you want in a turn, but you can only... Did it use the Psychic Energy on Seaking? I think so. And then use Waterfall, yeah, okay. But you can only evolve a single Pokemon once per turn. So, for example, if you had a Squirtle, you could evolve it into a Wartortle, but you couldn't then also evolve it into a Blastoise. Now, if we look at the Seeking here, it has a separate attack, Waterfall, that it gained from evolving into Seeking. And besides Waterfall, you can see it takes 1 water energy, but there's also a star. The star represents a colorless energy, which is basically, it takes any additional energy. So anything can take the place of being colorless. So in this case, Seeking has a water energy and a psychic energy attached. And the psychic energy just counts as colorless. So that's all nifty spiffy. Similarly, my opponent here just attached a fighting energy to his Rattata. Rattata is a colorless Pokemon, and so his abilities use colorless energy. So any energy card can be used to power a colorless Pokemon. Da, 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 da. Come on. You can go faster than that. I wish they would give you the option to at least tweak the settings before forcing you to do this. I'm just basically assuming... I didn't actually read what they want me to do, I'm just assuming this is what they want you to do. Even though they restrict what you can actually do in this game, at least they have the common sense to have you doing what makes the most sense. So, Raticate technically has, well, literally has 2 energies attached to it now. You may have noticed when I knocked out that... we're talking about losing conditions here. When I knocked out that Machop, I took a prize. At the beginning of the game, each player takes up to 6 cards and places them down. You can see them on my left here. There's 2 cards there. This is just a 2-prize game, just because, just to make it shorter. Oh? Attach water gem. Oh, okay. I have to attach water energy to Drowsy. Despite being a psychic-type Pokemon, Drowsy knows Pound, which takes a single colorless energy, so water is sufficient. Water energy is sufficient for that. So anyways, as for the prizes, this match only uses 2 prizes. A standard match uses 6, but I believe that most matches in this game use less than that, just to make it a little bit quicker. So anyways, prizes are basically a way to actually bring a match to an end. So if every time you knock out an opponent, you pick up one of your prizes and place it in your hand. If a player picks up all of their prizes, then they win. So in this case, whoever picks up 2 prizes or kills 2 opponent Pokemon first will end up being the victor of this match. There are other ways to win. If your opponent has no Pokemon to use, then you instantly win. So you may have noticed that your Pokemon are separated out into an active Pokemon at the front here, and then you have a bench of up to 5. So Drowsy is on my bench, but Staryu is my active. I wish I had paid a little more attention to what he told me to do, but it's all good. So if you knock out all of your opponent's Pokemon, he doesn't have anything on his bench to replace it with, then you win. And I believe the only other way to win is if your opponent runs out of cards in their deck. I'm trying to think. I think that they are allowed to pick up their last card, but if they don't win on that turn, like if they make it to the next turn and they don't have a card to draw, then they lose? I could be wrong about that though. It's honestly not something that occurs all that much, especially in this game. Like the Game Boy game, rather than the actual trading card game. So use a potion, which it's called a trainer card, but it basically just allows you to have whatever special effect. They do a whole range of stuff. Potion just heals 20 damage, which is kind of handy. It's not super handy, but as considering that it basically just saved my bacon in this situation, then it's good enough for me. Well, that's convenient. Is it really... Please stop talking, Dr. Mason. Okay. I don't know if we actually were supposed to do that, but whatever. I'm pretty sure Starmie doesn't have anything that uses 4. Yeah. So, use Star Freeze, which takes 1 water energy and 2 2 colorless. And this ability has a chance of applying a status effect, specifically Paralyze. It's not a guaranteed, but because we flipped to heads, we successfully paralyzed the opponent, which means that their Pokemon is unable to do anything on the following turn. And afterwards, the said paralysis is removed from us. Please tell me that's it. Thank you. I don't actually need to do anything. So there's a whole bunch of status effects in this game. There's paralysis, there's poison, there's sleep. I think those might be the only actual status effects. There's a bunch of other abilities that have like situational effects that aren't technically statuses, but for example, a bunch of Pokemon know Leer, which is basically functionally the same thing. I guess it's not technically the same thing as paralysis, because paralysis also prevents your opponent from retreating. Whereas Leer, the Pokemon just can't attack. They can still retreat though. I guess retreating is basically one of the only things that this little tutorial didn't go over, but that's okay. So now we get our starter deck. This is much like choosing your starter Pokemon in a normal Pokemon game. I'm going to go with a Squirtle and Friends deck. Please give me my Squirtle and Friends deck. As you can probably imagine, what deck you choose is largely determining what type of Pokemon you get primarily. So obviously Charmander and Friends gives fire, Squirtle gives water, Bulbasaur gives grass. But that's not the big thing that all this does. The biggest thing, if we go to our deck, is that it gives you the highest evolution of the chosen Pokemon, in this case a Blastoise. And these things are pretty rare, so that's a pretty big deal. So anyways, I chose water just because water is basically the element that I want to go with long term. So that's what I chose. Makes sense. I mean, I personally consider water to be basically the best, at least in the Generation 1 of cards. I don't really know any of the other generations, so I can't really speak to that, but... anyways, what I'm doing here is... I've messed with my deck a little bit with the... And specifically, I've put all of my energy cards in my deck. So I don't have any extra energy cards. But before I forget anything else, I want to config message speed fast. Skip some, that's good. And the reason for that is if you talk to this guy and you have, I think, a less than 10 energy cards just sitting around, then he gives you a whole bunch of energy cards. So since all my energy is tied up in my deck, that triggers that to happen. Yes, words and things. So I believe he just gives you 10 of every energy, which is definitely good, because energy is very important, and you don't start off with a whole lot of it, so it becomes the biggest restricting factor. You need a whole lot of energy to power your Pokemon, and you don't start with enough to really... Like, if I got 10 water energy, does that mean I only started with 11? That's, like, nowhere near enough for a deck, so... Yeah. You just need a lot of energy, and that's a really easy way to get it that doesn't involve having to, like, beat other trainers and stuff to get it. So anyways... I am going to mess with my deck a little bit more, and then I will catch you back here for the next episode of Let's Play a Pokemon Card. Catch you later.